This is Mr. Mark, and I'm going to give you a video on the basic tutorial in Inkscape. This is the very first tutorial, and the way you find the tutorial is to go to the help button, go to tutorials, and then Inkscape Basic. So this is the tutorial on Inkscape Basic. So looking at the tutorial on the screen here, I can see that it shows, it starts and gives you an overview. This tutorial demonstrates the basics of using Inkscape. It'll cover Canvas navigation, managing documents, shape, tool, basics. The advanced will be taught later. Selection techniques, transforming objects with selector, grouping settings, fill, stroke, alignment, and stacking order. And we'll look at the other tutorials later. So the first thing it says, there are many ways to pan the canvas. So it's going to show you canvas control. It talks about try control plus arrow keys just to control my keyboard. So if I press the arrow up, you can see my keyboard moves up and down. And you can also drag the canvas by pressing the middle mouse button. I can move it around like this. Or you can use the scroll bars. Press Control B to show or hide the items. So go ahead and press Control B, and you can see how the scroll bars hide or not hide. The wheel on your mouse also works for scrolling. So if I scroll vertically, I would roll the wheel back and forth. If I hold down the Shift button, it'll go left and right. So zooming in and out, it says the easiest way to zoom in is pressing the plus or minus keys, or the equal keys. So let's try that. So if I want to zoom in, it goes like that. If I want to zoom out, press the minus key. You can notice in the bottom right corner of the screen, it'll show you what zoom level you're at. And in Inkscape, you can really zoom in quite a lot. Okay. You can click the zoom entry field in the bottom right region of the screen and type a precise zoom level. So if you want to go to zoom 1000, you just type it. If you want to go to zoom 10,000, you just type it and enter it, or you can go back to 100 and see the whole screen, just like that. There's a zoom tool in the toolbar on the left side of the page, and this is the zoom tool on the left side of the page. If I want to zoom specifically into one spot, I'll zoom in, and you can see that it zoomed into over 1000%, but I'm going to zoom back out to 100 by just typing it in and going backwards. And that's how that works. It also keeps a history of the zoom levels you've used in the work session. Press the little key above the tab button to make the history pop up to go one level back, and press Shift to go forward. Now let's look at the tools. The vertical toolbar on the left shows Inkscape's drawing and editing tools. So I'm just going to copy that so you can see that using Windows Shift S. And that's these. This is the vertical toolbar on the left it's talking about. And I'm just going to paste that in here real quick. So this is the command bar. This is the vertical toolbar on the left shows Inkscape's drawing and editing tools. So these are the drawing and editing tools. The command bar with the general command buttons such as save and print can be found in either the top part of the right window or below the menu, depending on how you got your Inkscape set up. So I'm going to copy that too. So just so you can see it. And this is the command bar. So I'm just going to copy this here. This is the command bar. And the reason you need to know these is because tutorials or something like that might reference the command bar. And if you don't know what it is, you won't know which bar to click on. Okay, let's go to the next one. The snaps control bar is at the top of the page, or it will be on the right side of the page. And I'll show you how that's going to work in a minute. So let me get a copy of the snaps control bar. And they call this the snaps control bar because sometimes when you get and you're moving things around, they'll snap into place. And you'll see that a lot and you'll understand it in the future. So I'm just going to put this on the top right now. Did you see how that just did that? It snapped into place. See that? Snapped into place. And then both, you can still move it, but it just kind of snaps it into place. And a lot of times this makes editing your designs easier. See how it just magnetizes and snaps into place down there? So, okay, so I'm going to move the drawing and editing tools down a little bit. And this is my command bar, and this is my snaps control bar. The canvas area also has the tools controls bar. The tools controls bar is right up here. That's this bar right here. And this bar is specific to each tool that you select. For example, I'll show you an example of that. Let me shrink this down a bit. Let me move this over here. And then I'm going to shrink it, pull it out like that, and then bring it up like this. So this is the tools control bar. And notice up here, right? So right now it's on the select and transform button. But if I go to the shape button here, this button changes. So whatever you press here, this bar here is going to automatically change. And this is called the tools control bar. Now at the bottom of the screen, you have the status bar. And the status bar down at the bottom changes depending on what you're doing. For example, if I click here and I click this button here, it tells me that's an image, and it tells me what I'm clicking on. But if I click over here, it tells me it's a rectangle. It tells me the size. It tells me if I press Control, I can make it a square. It tells me if I press Shift, it'll draw around the starting point. And the starting point's the middle. Now if I move that, and I'll show you the other stuff later. But I don't want this stuff here, so I'm going to get rid of it and just continue on logically with the tutorial. So many operations are available through the keyboard shortcuts. Open Help keys and mouse references to open. If you go to Help keys and mouse reference to see a complete list of available shortcuts. And that was keys and mouse reference, and you open that up, and it will open up a web page and show you all the shortcuts that are in GIMP. Okay, so let's keep going. So creating and manage documents. So to create a new document, use File and New, and that's what we did already to get this blank document open. To create a new document, to get it new from template, you press Control-Alt-N. So if I press Control-Alt-N, it should bring up the new from template document, and that's that right there, new from template. Okay, so Inkscape has an auto save feature, but they recommend that you practice saving all the time. and that would probably be Shift S to save. I'm guessing. I hope. No, Control S is save. See where it says save, Control S? Control S, and then it will give me the save features. And we'll come back to that later. Inkscape opens a separate document window for each document. You can navigate among them using your Windows Manager using Alt-Tab. So now I have an Inkscape document on the right and an Inkscape document on the left. The right one's the tutorial, but if I want to go back in between them, I can press Alt-Tab, and it will give me the option to select which one I want. And let's say I want to use that one there. Now I'm here. Then I go back to this one here, and I can just go back and forth. And Inkscape likes to use the keyboard shortcuts a lot because it makes you a faster graphic designer. So Inkscape treats these windows like tabs in a web browser. This means Control-Tab shortcuts only work with documents running in the same process. If you open multiple files from a file browser or launch more than one Inkscape process, an icon from an icon, it will not work. So, okay, so let's go real quickly to this one. Creating shape. Time for some nice shapes. Click on the rectangle tool in the toolbar on the left, or press F4 to click and drag. So I can either click here and create a shape, or I can press F4. So let's go back over here and let's press F4 and see what happens. Okay, it automatically goes to that shape there. And it's automatically using the fill colors that I have selected. So I'm clicking rectangle. It says click and drag either new documents or right here. So I want you doing on this new page here, because this is the one you're going to turn into me. Okay, just like that. As you can see, the default rectangle comes up with a blue fill, and this might be what yours comes up with. Mine has a red fill and a white stroke because that's what I have in my stroke paint. If I if I select an object, I can see the colors that I have selected. This is my fill, and this is my stroke, and the stroke is the outline color. So if I want to make my stroke blue, I can just change the color like that. With other tools, you can create ellipses, stars, and spirals. So go ahead and make those now. And since we're kind of running out of space already to get everything in this tutorial in, it's okay to go ahead and zoom in and work in a small area, because Inkscape can manage that quite well. Let's put some circles here, and this is part of what you're turning in. Let's scroll over here a little bit, and I'm going to put some stars. So here's some, let me make this 5. There we go. My stroke is pretty thick, so let me go back to 2 right there, hit enter, and I'm going to drag this star out just a little so it looks like a star. Move it right here. And what was star? Is this F5 is going to be a star? F5 is a circle. F6, nope. F7, nope, doesn't do that. All right, I was just looking for it. Okay, so here's a star, here's another star. Here's some stars, there's some stars, and put those there. Now let's draw these ellipses. Let's click on it, let's draw some here. Draw some here, here, here. And this part looks done. These tools are collectively known as shape tools. So on the left side, we have our shape tools. Each shape you create displays one or more handles. And you can see the handle. And you can see how it responds when you grab it. See how I grab the handle and I'm able to change it and make more of a circle, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'll play more with those later in another tutorial. Okay, if you make a mistake, you can just press Control Z and go backwards, and it will get rid of that mistake. Control Y brings it back. Moving and scaling, the most frequently used Inkscape tool is the selector. Click the topmost button with the arrow on the toolbar, or press S or F1, or toggle using the space. So I'm just going to do, let's see, F1. F1 brings the arrow. So there's that there. F5, it said, brings the circle. And so let's go back to F1, and it brings the arrow key. Now you can select any object on the canvas, like this, like I'm doing now. Now, it talks about selecting this canvas, and this tutorial is actually built into Inkscape, and it is an Inkscape project. So what it's telling you to do here is to use the selector button to select this, and you'll notice what happens. If you want to move an object, you click it and you drag it, just like that. Press Control to restrict movement to the horizontal and vertical. So if I want to go like this, I'll move it around like this. But if I want it to go straight across, I'll just click Control and go straight across. Or I will go straight up and down like that. Scale the object by dragging the handle. So here is the handle here, and I'm going to scale it like that. Press Control to preserve the original height ratio. And that's the original height ratio. You can see this is a transparent square. Now click the rectangle again, the handles change. Now you can rotate and skew. So let's make this a little bit smaller and move it back down. So I'm going to click it once and then click it again. And now you can rotate it and I can skew it. Skew means I can click this handle here and I can turn it like that. That's skewing. Press Control to preserve the original height and width ratio. Okay, now click the rectangle again, the handles change. Now you can rotate the object by dragging the corner handles. If you press Control when you rotate, it restricts it to 15 degree steps. Drag the cross mark to position the center of rotation. So here's the cross mark, and I'm going to drag it down here. And now when I rotate, it's going to rotate around the center of rotation. Skew works the same way. And if I click that there, I can skew it. And if I move the crosshairs here, it will put the center of rotation to that one place. Let's see what happens when I put it here. I'm not sure. Okay, so it is kind of doing it there. While using the selector, you can also use the numeric entry field in the tool command bar above the canvas to set exact values for coordinates x and y and the size, width, and height. So if I go here and I do x and y and I push 50, and then I go here and I push 50, and it should bring it up. And then I go width and height. I'm going to do 11. And then I'm going to do, oh wait, I'm clicking the wrong one. I should be here. change, I can remove it. So if I want to remove it, I click the X, no paint, and it's gone. If I want to change the color, I will just click it and change the color like that. So here is a red, and I'll make this a yellow, yellowish. And well, before I do that, I actually want these colors. Let me zoom out one. I do want you to have all of these together. So I'm going to press this, Control S, and to save time, I'm going to copy these. And I'll put these right here. Okay. And so these are no strokes. These were just colors. Stroke, no. And these are the ones with the stroke. And different strokes for different folks. Okay. All right. And so now we're going to do some pattern strokes. So let's copy and then paste and then bring it over here. And we'll do some pattern strokes. Let me zoom just a little. To do pattern strokes, you got to click on the stroke style and then you select the pattern. So for example, let's add a stroke here. So we got to turn on the stroke for one on this. It's going to make it purple. Then we go to stroke style and we select the stroke. And we can make it smaller like that. And let's do this one here. And we'll select smaller, 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 smaller. And you can barely even see it. Let's make it a different color stroke. So I'm going to press Shift and the red button here. Down at the red color down at the bottom of the page. Okay, so let's see what else we got. We can make the stroke thick by designating like a 5 here, and it'll make a thick stroke. We can make the next one a dash. And let's make it so we can see it. So I'm going to make this one, can I make it blue? There we go. And so forth and so on. So let me change that one. And then I'll change this one over here to something weird. And I'll change this one over here to that one there. Whoop. I want to change this one to that one there. And then I can make it bigger like that. Okay, so the last one is you can use gradients to fill. So I'm going to grab these top ones again. And I'm just going to copy. And let me group them first. Now I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to paste. And then I'm just going to drag it down here like this. And now I'm going to ungroup everything. Control U. Was it Control U to ungroup? Now it's individual. Now I'm going to just add some gradients. And my gradients were in the fill part. I can add the gradient here. So this is a left gradient. Over here we have a radial gradient. I can change check this one here. And you can actually change the color on things. Let's add another radial gradient here. And that's the stroke. Let's go to the fill. That one there. And we can change it to here. And these are all simple little exercises that anybody can do. Okay, so let's look at the next thing, this duplication, alignment, and distribution. One of the most common operation is duplicating an object. So if you want to duplicate something, you press Control D. The duplicate is placed exactly on top of the original and is selected by dragging the mouse on it. So if I go over here and I draw a box, and I just drag it like that, and I press, let's make the stroke smaller. Let's make the stroke a 3. And I press Control D. It made a duplicate, but the duplicate's on top, and I can move it by just dragging it off, just like that. Now, everything here is kind of spaced out randomly. If I want everything to be kind of even, I can use the align distribution controls. Shift Control A. So let's press Shift Control A, and it brings up the align and distribute menu over here. And it says select all the squares and shift click or drag a rubber band. Okay, so let's do that. So let's select all of these. I've selected all of those there and nothing else. Everything's selected. Open the dialog and press center on horizontal axis. And it doesn't say center on a horizontal axis, but if you move your mouse over, you'll find it. And this is the center on horizontal axis. And you see it moved them all together. And then make horizontal gaps between objects equal. The objects are neatly aligned and distributed with equal space between them. And that's under the distribute button. So we want to make things horizontally aligned. So distribute right edges, distribute centers, and we have, what else? Distribute left edges. So I'm going to do centers. And you can see it automatically moves the objects equal distance apart, even though some of them doesn't look it, but it is equal distance, I suppose, according to that. Z order refers to stacking of objects. Z means up and down. The Z order refers to stacking order of objects in a drawing, which objects are on top of other objects and cover them so the bottom objects are not completely visible. The two commands in the object menu are raise to the top, lower to the bottom, or move the selective objects to the very top or very bottom of the current layer. So I'm going to make some circles real quick and show you how that works. Okay, so if you want to move something up or down, and they have controls at the top of the page, and you can see them right up here. It shows an up arrow with a line, a bright white line above it, and the one on the far right is the opposite. So if I want to move this to the very bottom of this whole page, I'll just click this button here. If I want it on the very top, I'll click this button here. If I wanted to go down one at a time, I'll just click, click, click one at a time until it's on the bottom. And that's what that is all about. So it says a very useful selection shortcut is a tab key. If nothing is selected, it selects the bottommost object. So the bottom. So let's try that. So I'm going to select the bottommost object. What is the bottommost object? I guess this is the bottommost object. So let's move this one all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to select this again. Now I'm going to select the tab key, and it selected that button. Okay, so Alt-click, Alt-drag. You can select objects underneath other objects. So Alt-click, and so I'm going to copy these real quick. I'm going to do a rectangle, and then a star, and then another star. And let me do select and paint these different colors. There's one color. Let's make this yellow. Let's make this one light blue. Okay. So if I want to grab different objects, it says first Alt-click selects the top object. So Alt-click selects the top object. Selects just like the regular click. However, the Alt-click is the same point with select the object below the top one. So if I select Alt-click, it selects that one. But if I do it again, it selects the bottom one. Okay. Let me zoom in a little. Oh, that's so much. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So if you got an object underneath you want to select, you would use the Alt click and the Alt drag. So let me do the Alt drag. There, I can grab the object underneath. Even though I press it here, I can grab the object underneath by pressing Alt, the Alt drag. Selecting similar objects. So this one here, I'm just going to 1, 2, 3. Is that going to work? Let me do it like this so I don't change it. Let's delete that. I'll tell you what. Why don't I just do this? This will be quicker. Okay, there we go. All right, so let me do the control. Let me select everything here. And I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to bring it over here and I'm going to paste it right here. So in this one here, it tells you can select just certain colors if you want. And that's what I'm going to try to demonstrate. It says you go to edit, select same and fill colors. So if I go to edit, then I go down to select same and fill colors, it will automatically select only those things that I want. So let's go here, edit, select same, fill color. And it should have only selected that. Okay, so you got to press 1 first. Edit, select same, fill color. And it selected every one of these with the same fill color. So if I want to select the green ones, I would click 1, edit, select same, fill color. And then it selects all the ones with the same fill color. And let's see. That's pretty much it on here. Okay, so for this one here, this page is done. This is what you got to put it on. Let's put our name on this. Mark Hefner. Let's make sure that's spread out. There we go. And this is the basic tutorial. Let me zoom out just a little. I'm going to move everything down a little so I can put the title and my name up top. Put my name up top, and this was Inkscape Basics. So let's add that right up here. Inkscape Basic. And I want these to be on the same line, so I'm going to use this to make them on the same line. Can I distribute them horizontally? Okay, that's close enough. And that's it. So let's save this to my Inkscape folder in my pictures. So there's my Inkscape folders, and I'm just going to create a new folder and call this basic. Inkscape :basic. Wouldn't let me put a colon, so just put Inkscape basic. And then I'm going to call this Inkscape basic like that. And that saved it. And I'm also going to export. I'm going to export the image, and I don't want it to be PNG. So export as. And I want it to go to that same folder. I want to make it a JPEG because I want the white background. So let's go ahead and make it a JPEG, Inkscape Basic, save. Yeah, just click OK. We know it's not good quality. Okay, so in my File Explorer, if I go to my Pictures folder, I can find my Inkscape Basics, and there that is. And I should maybe, where did the other one go? I don't see it. Oh, there it is. It made the PNG. Oh, that was my other one. I want to put it over here. Oh, I don't see it though. Okay, so let's go and export it again. And this is why it didn't do it. I want to export the entire page. Make sure you select page, Inkscape Basic, and then click export. And that should work. So let's go back over here. Open it up, pictures, Inkscape, Inkscape Basic, and there's my PNG. I should have made it as JPEG. Got to do it again. Export as, and we want this to be a JPEG. Save. Okay. Let's look one more time. Is it there? Inkscape, Inkscape Basic. I don't see it. Is it here? Export, Inkscape Basic, export. Low quality warning, progressive, 100. Okay. Where does that file explorer keep going? Inkscape, Inkscape Basic. I still don't see it. Okay, save it as a PNG. I'll get back with you on that. Why it doesn't say if it's a JPEG, I'm not sure. I'll get back with you. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.